Good morning. This is Spirit Journey, and it's another day. I woke up maybe an hour ago, and as usual, watching more YouTube videos. I was watching videos when I woke up on what they call the Monarch program, and how, still in connection with what I talked in earlier videos about the super soldiers program by the government. And I also made mention about my experience on the train 2 days ago when I was being bullied or thugged by these two women, and how it shook me up after the fact, and how my being a veteran, that I realized the experience that I was happening after the event of those two women on the train, that a lot of anxiety and racing thoughts started coming through, that was part of what they call post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD for short. And I'm seeing how, again, things are interconnected. And I know with my videos, the first 3 videos regarding the women who were bullying me on the train, that some of the blacks who watched the video thought what I was doing was the C word. It's a 4-letter word pertaining to blacks who are so-called pro-white or on the side of white supremacy, which is far from the truth. What I want to talk about in this video is the reality of that there is no good race or bad race. You have good people and bad people. But the trickery that I was, or the falsehood that I had believed initially was that, well, I was bullied as a child. But I thought, there was something wrong with me, as I explained in my 4th video on the incident with the train. And then I came to realize that, like a rape victim, how oftentimes the person who is raped blames themselves and make excuses, or they say, well, if I wore this outfit or that one, maybe this would have happened. And then the realization, it has nothing to do with the victim, the target, but the person who is sending out the harm. So I started thinking this morning after watching these videos on the Monarch program. The Monarch program is a government program whereby they use trauma-based mind control over its subjects without their consent, and they start them as, when they were children, like 3 years old, 4 years old, or even earlier, is to traumatize them so they can split their personality. And then they use them for operations like covert operations for the government, or just rich people who get access to these people and use them for perversions. And I'm wondering, not necessarily that I was in a Monarch program. I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. But I see in my life that I realized something is wrong. Something was wrong. And something, I believe, happened to me early in life, around the ages of 3 and 4. between 3 and 5 years of age, or 3 and 6. And that from that point on, from those age ranges, that something was set in my psyche. And I see how with my father, who's not deceased, certain behaviors that was done. And I feel it was designed to make me feel paranoid. He was going through my things. I found out later on, he was even learning how to do astral projection, I learned. And I think to try to get into my business, to spy on me. And I learned from a relative that that relative's father was doing the same thing to her. She was very, very detailed. And the whole topic of, astral and, psychic spies, things like that sound, ridiculous. But I talked to an authority, or I shouldn't say an authority, but someone who is experienced on the subject, is well versed. And I had an opportunity to talk to them. And they said, yeah, that type of thing is very possible. And listen to the program today about it, how you have people who learn how to mentally affect someone else's mind, make them feel sick, anxiety. And it was just in 2012 that I was getting attacked. I thought, it never happened like that in my life. It was a strong attack and it lasted for a couple of years. But it was extremely strong from 2012, well, the end of 2011 to like 2015. These strong attacks that was all, seemed to be concentrated at the time of my trying to go to sleep or waking up from sleep. And I had these attacks for no provocation, nothing. So I'm wondering whether something was influencing me. I'm a very healthy person. I don't do drugs or anything like that. I normal intelligence, but this was strong, and it's illogical. It could have been maybe menopause in part, yes, because my age. Definitely, that could have had a component. But something like that, that's strong. It's a coincidence. A coincidence when that it happened right at the end of my schoolwork for my master's program. It's as if something was trying to hold me back from going out there and working. Now in hindsight, that's what I'm thinking. Wow, like something was holding me back, saying, "Don't do that. Don't go into that." It's like a control. So also why I'm doing this video is that you have, like, with those, especially the first 3 videos I did on those 2 women on the train who were harassing me, that, again, some people, some blacks who saw the video were offended. I feel that those individuals didn't have the maturity to see through what I'm really getting at. It's not about siding with so-called whitey, not at all. But as I said earlier, that I was exposing. See, part of my problem, I thought it was because I wasn't hip enough, wasn't African American enough. And if I changed it, this would solve the problem. And how I learned about more Black history. I did the volunteer work. I did other things, you know. So I thought, in almost, in essence, it's like paying back karma for not being aware, as the community says. But you know, that concept is alive. As I said in video number 4, it's absolutely ridiculous, the falsehood in that assumption. You have people who are just plain old evil. See, you have that, like I mentioned, the Monarch program, and how they kidnap children and use it and brainwash them to do acts of evil for the government. Or you have people, rich people, who know how to use the same type of technology, science behind mind control, like my father, and screw up their lives. And how they do that to suck in your power. Some people enjoy seeing other people suffer because then they feel big and strong, just like those 2 women on the train, so that they were big and important that they could bully somebody. Okay? So I'm trying to tie it in, even though, it's like a different event, but it's all connected because it's about control, and it's about sucking in your energy. Fear is an energy. And when people who can try to intimidate others to cause fear or anxiety, that's food for them, and they suck in that energy to make themselves bigger. And that's, in essence, what those ladies were doing. Whether they were conscious of it or not, the intent is still there. And so, how are what those ladies did and these different programs, secret programs that the government does? Well, it's a network of people all over. And, frequency is attracted to same frequency. So whether you're a Black person, a white person, it's the same frequency of intent, the same frequency of intent. And so they're the same color. But see, we being taught, the Black community, that the white man is the devil. You do have some white devils out there who are there to destroy as many of Black people as possible. Oh yes, you do have that. But you also, I see, Black people who do the same thing. And so they both work in their own domain. You have Black people that work within the Black community, and they cause havoc. What do you think those gang leaders are all about? It's to traumatize the community, right? They're not white people inside that community, but Blacks. And they harness the fear of those poor people in that community, get them to do certain drugs, which puts their mind on a negative frequency. You have the influx of Black churches that steal your money so that you can't use your money to build a real community, to save your money for retirement, for your own personal use, but they take it. So you notice in these areas, the influx of churches, the high crime rate, the intensity of gang warfare. This is all a cesspool to suck out the Black community. So whites don't even have to go in those communities anymore and do the lynching. See, the lynching that you heard about that was being done in the like in the 1930s, 1920s, is to put fear, and then with the fear they suck out the energy because they consider it food. So, so what I'm getting at is, yes, there is a spiritual warfare, but spiritual warfare doesn't. It's not about what they call God, because we are all spirits, but we are housed in a physical body. We're trapped in it. But some people know how to come out of their body, so to speak, energetically, and interact with other energies. It is a warfare going on, a big warfare. And the first warfare is the warfare on illusions, the illusion of white against black, men against women. It's all the same. And so I thought for a number of years that this black utopia that I was praying for, and I even thought about, see, why I did my DNA, I wanted to find out what African tribe or region I'm from and then go back to Africa and all my problems would be solved, because black people's problem is that we don't know who we are and we need to get back home to our origins and live happily ever after. That is a false belief. It's false because it has nothing to do with going back home to Africa. Your home is where your feet are. Where you are, that is your home. And energetically speaking, what's happening over there? Where I live in New York City, you have tons of West African people. They are leaving their countries. They're not staying there. It's not a utopia. And they're not any more spiritual at all. You should just go watch them. They're all in Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, and in Central Park. They work with the tour buses and the bike rentals. Go watch them and see how spiritual connected they are. You're not going to see it. So I'm glad. I'm not saying that as a put down, was for an awakening, because see, I thought to be a native born African that you're more spiritual, and it's the motherland, and it's all kumbaya, and we hold hands in black harmony. This is a lie from the devil. And you have these ministers who are teaching about this coming back to Africa, black consciousness, the pyramids, and all this stuff. Those pyramids and stuff is all about magic and about moving from one portal to another portal. It's nothing spiritual, in the goodly sense of the word. No. It's just technology. The pyramid is just a technology. Astral projection is just a technology that's metaphysical. It has nothing to do with being good. We are all energy bodies. And some of us have learned how to operate it better than others. And so they want to keep you in the darkness about how to operate your energy body to equip yourself. And so now they're setting up a scenario to form this fighting. And they want you to think, black community, that it's all about white people. But no, it's not just about white people. It's black people are part of the same thing. And the outcome is still the same. It's to oppress you. It's not to liberate you. You go examine some of those black leaders, and you're going to find that they're Masons, they're initiates, all these things. Rosicrucian, you name it. You know what I'm getting at. And they all work together with the white organizations. And they're being assigned what to do to keep you in check. All these groups, they're oppressing white people. These videos I'm seeing. You have some white people who are beautiful people in heart, and they were corrupted by these secret governments. They're being tortured. All these horrific stuff. I never knew something like that could happen. Never knew that. But it's happening. I said, how could something like that happen? I thought white people love white people. No. Yeah, evil white people who are even doing evil on their own. And it's all for power. And you have black people doing the same thing. We live in a duality world, so they play up the race card. And yes, I was getting all worked up and believing the race card too. I did. I was suckered into it. Think it's a white and black thing. Yes, it's a duality, but we all have our packaging. And yes, genetics are at play. And you have different beings or intelligences that are exploiting our DNA. I met someone years ago, about 18 years ago, in Hawaii. When she was 5 years old, she was hearing voices of the people. She was on a school bus, and she heard people talking, but yet their mouths wasn't moving. She heard their thoughts. So when she got off the bus, when she got home, she says, "Mommy, I'm hearing voices." And the mother said, when I was 5 years old too, I had the same experience. This woman was being followed. And yes, also, she has Native American blood as well. So I noticed with these programs that they seem to target people who have Irish and Native American blood mix. Okay? And just the things that she mentioned was the same type of thing of like they would get these people who may have a natural psychic ability and then use them in experiments and drug them. She had told me that one time her so-called friends would take her and put drugs, give her drugs. She'll black out and she'll be like in the middle of a circle or something like that. They were using her as a channel. And this is 18 years ago, about 18 years ago. And I never heard of anything like this. I thought she was crazy. Yes, she looked crazy. Yes, she did. But I see now in hindsight and watching all these different videos, what's going on with different people around the world. And it's the same theme. We're being used. And some families, and some black families are being used that are into witchcraft. And they're having sex with their children, molesting their children, and doing a mind control thing on them. And it can happen from generation to generation with these families. So I'm exposing it, and I'm being the C word. I want to enlighten so you can use this information to equip yourself and your loved ones so that it does not happen again. At least you have something to work with to defend yourself. Again, let's stop being wicked regardless of race and start elevating yourself to fight spiritual darkness. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yes, feel free to comment below, but no profanity, no curse words. If you need help with using vocabulary, get a dictionary and find an appropriate word to express yourself. You can share this video with friends and family members, especially those who think that their family might have been targeted too. And you could subscribe to my channel. And those of you who like the content of this video or my channel and you want to see it to continue, I invite you to feel free to donate to my PayPal Me account. And you can click on the icon, the PayPal icon, on the banner portion of my channel. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video, and that is food for thought for you to grow on and learn from, and to encourage you to do your own research for you and your loved ones for personal freedom and power. I thank you for listening. Take care.